cappella art. You still have a chance to listen to them a little bit later tonight. And I would like to introduce our guest who came all the way from Finland to wonderful Silicon Valley. And I met him first at Percona conference, which was happening in Santa Clara Conference Center here. Hello, Monty, or Michael.
Hello, nice to be here.
So when did you get your name Monty?
I actually got it as very, very young because my real name is Michael, but when my mother took me to school, there were so many other people who were named Michael, so she wanted to give me a unique name, and she loved Montgomery the General, so from there I got it.
So considering that you have other names in Finland, and we read it, except Maria and Anna, similar to Russian names. And I have a t-shirt called Maria DB. That's apparently Finnish name and Russian name as well, but also name of your daughter. And you had the press release of opening Maria DB. So Maria database. So what is that all about?
Now, for the first, my wife is Russian, Anna, and we choose the name Maria for our daughter just because it works very well both in Finland and in Russia, and also in US.
So I wear one t-shirt which says Santa Clara Community Event and MariaDB and MySQL, but now I see even much better t-shirt made by geeks used by professionals. What that's all about?
The thing is that I'm the creator of MySQL and MariaDB. It's a totally open source product. I see myself as a geek. Most of the other people who are programming MariaDB and MySQL are what other people call geeks. But it's MySQL and MariaDB. That's the M in the LAMP acronym, who is driving the whole internet. So we're actually doing something as geeks that everybody is using for really critical things.
So what is MariaDB about? Like, what does it do?
So if you go on the net to a shop or and try to do a shopping cart, all the information both about the products and what you're doing is stored somewhere. In 80% of all cases, it's stored in MySQL or MariaDB. So we are truly driving the net.
All right. What about seal? Why I see seal animal here, right?
Yeah. So with MySQL we had dolphin as our favorite animal, and in MariaDB I wanted to have an animal who plays very well with the dolphin. And I like seals. I have had personal close encounters with seals while swimming, and it was so exciting, so that I thought about having the seal as the animal for MariaDB.
As far as I remember, the dolphin has its unique name, right?
Yosakila.
And what about the seal? Does it too?
It doesn't still have a name. We are searching for a name. Sooner or later it will pop up.
What?
It will come up to its existence.
All right. And tell me, when actually in your life you felt as a geek?
Basically when I was 14 and I got my first programmable computer, actually a calculator, because this was before the computers. And I kind of noticed that, hey, this is nice, interesting, and everybody else thought it was so hard and impossible, and that's something for future generations, not for them. That was the first time I noticed I was a little bit different.
That's when you created MySQL?
I created MySQL in 1981, so that was 6 years later, and around that. And I got my first computer in 78. So first I created a lot of games just as a way for me to entertain myself and my fellow friends. And when I started working, going to college, I just noticed that there's actually no really good, easy to use databases. So I created one which I worked on for a little more than 10 years until I created MySQL on top of that.
We read your biography and we noticed that you went to the university And then you didn't graduate from
No.
university.
Because
So, like all great entrepreneurs, you dropped out of, like all great inventors and entrepreneurs, you did drop out of
yes,
university.
I did it first 2 years by basically not being at the university, but basically getting all the grades that was needed. I did work full time, and just noticed that I already earning more than I would or most of the others who will graduate. So the question is why, and also noticed that I didn't learn anything in my field from the university that I didn't know from before. So it kind of was a little bit waste of time in my case. But I have lots of friends from the university, and I think the university is a really great place for creating connections for the future. So dropping out, maybe because you have nothing to learn, that may be okay in some cases, but not because one should go there because the connections is something you get for life.
So you went to the regular school, regular university,
Yeah.
and you felt being a little bit unique, maybe not fit into the community.
Actually, in school I never fit in. In university I found lots of other people that were like me. So it was a really valuable experience to see that there's actually other people who are a little strange compared to the normal society.
So how did you deal being in the school, being strange, not understood because you were thinking maybe about creating computer games and doing something different what most of the kids would think?
Other people were, after they were 15, out partying on evenings. I was sitting at home learning the computer. So a little bit lonely, a little bit teased. And then when you come to university, you just notice there is hundreds of other people like you.
So university did help you.
Yes, in that sense. For connection, yes. But as I already had studied computers and learned everything about those, so learned assembler by myself, programming in hex. So there were not much the university could learn me about programming.
You became one of the best entrepreneur in Finland.
Yes, I did get a reward for that, yes.
So now I wouldn't want to mispronounce your last name.
Videnius.
Finnish name?
It's a Finnish name, yes.
It sounds like a little bit Greek.
Wait, what is the name? What is his name?
Videnius.
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 Huh?
Or Roman.
Roman maybe?
Could be.
So Michael
secret empire
Videnius.
somewhere?
Yeah.
Do you have a secret empire somewhere, Roman?
Probably not.
In database, on top of
yes.
database.
So you
Okay,
have a
that's an
database
empire.
Yes.
That's a different empire.
So I'm guessing
okay?
the Romans are making a comeback.
But of course, we didn't want to have that all my children should have easy names. So my youngest or oldest daughter's name is My, and it's spelled M-Y, and it's from that MySQL comes from.
So what does it SQL stands for then?
It's a structured query language.
So MySQL for your first daughter,
Yeah.
and MariaDB for your second daughter.
Yes, and then we had also MaxDB in between for my son Max.
Okay. So imagine you will have lots of kids, then you will be like having 100 names in different platforms, right?
That's what I call a pattern in naming the products, yeah.
So this is like if you don't create any MySQL or DB, MariaDB or MaxDB, then you don't create kids, right? That's how it works.
Yeah, let's say I don't plan to do a new database and don't plan to have more kids.
So never say never. I never apply for a job at radio station, but here I am. The needs comes, you fill the needs.
Yeah, Maria wasn't planned either, so.
You always go with the grandchildren names, so...
Yeah, grandchildren. Think of that.
Yeah.
Okay, then we have to have new platforms because computer science is changing, database centers changing. Now we have clouds, public, hybrid, and you name it. Then it's a lot of opportunities. So never say never. So I would keep the door open. What do you think?
Always.
All right, very good. Now, when you started to work for the company with your creation MySQL, was it bought by Sun Microsystem right away, or you created your own company?
So the roots of MySQL was started 1981. 1995, or actually 93, I wrote a SQL on top of that, and 95 I released it as free software, and in 2000, 5 years later, actually 2001, we got investors and got sold to Sun 2007. So it actually is a really, really long product.
But then Sun Microsystem was bought by Oracle.
Yes, unfortunately.
And then you started some new association to protect MySQL, or?
The thing was that Oracle never gave any firm commitments that they actually will take care of MySQL. So, and that was one problem. The other problem was that most of the engineers who had created MySQL, all the geeks that I was talking about earlier, they didn't want to work at Oracle. They didn't like a big company, and they didn't believe that there will be a secure future for MySQL there. So they come to me, and we created a company, and we then started to work on MariaDB just to ensure that there will always be a free version of MySQL.
So, but announcement you just on April 3rd of 2014, or it was done earlier than?
Yeah, so we did this Monday we announced the new version MariaDB 10, which is the best MySQL version ever created. But this is the 5th version of MariaDB that we have done.
All right.
So we started already 2008 when Oracle announced that they will buy Sun.
So I had the chance to speak with one of your employees with MySQL, Peter Zaitsev.
Yeah, he's a dear friend to me.
Who contacted to you from all the way St. Petersburg?
Yes.
No, Moscow, sorry, Moscow. And then he works for you in Finland, or virtually also in Moscow.
Yeah, he did work from Moscow. Originally, one of the unique things with the MySQL company was not only that we did go into the database business when everybody said that's totally impossible, the world doesn't need another database, and Bill Gates said you can't create any new software in a garage. In fact, we actually created MySQL in the cellar, so he was wrong. But
in the cellar?
In the cellar?
I worked at home in the cellar, and
there is the wine, or no?
No wine.
No.
Wine. Okay.
Well, I just imagine you starting working on MySQL in the morning, all bright and refreshed, and by the evening, your code starts being a little sloppier.
No, it wasn't cellar, so it's different cellar, because here cellar in California, it's where they keep the wine.
No, there it's basically where you have under the ground floor.
The ground floor in Finland.
Yeah.
Okay, so no wine was involved. You're just working on it, despite that those big names told you no.
Yeah.
And you continue believing it and keep creating.
Yeah, and because we did know that because we are open source, we are unique. But I was also doing this together with one friend, David Axmark, in Sweden. So we were virtual from day one. So when we started to hire people to the project, we just hired them all over the world, because it didn't matter where they were living, because we didn't have an office. We were already living in different countries. So MySQL was one of the first true virtual companies. So when we were sold to Sun, we were 450 employees from more than 30 different countries, and I don't think that, except the management team who was in Cupertino, maybe 40, everybody else was working virtually. And that was one of the strengths that we had, that we could employ the best people everywhere. And even the MariaDB team today, everybody's working in different places. We don't have a single office for the development.
Wow, that's really cool. So you can get people from all around the world to try and to work on your project.
Yes. And usually they work better, and you can find and keep them much longer, because if they have to move, they don't have to move from the company.
Oh yeah.
So now you had talented people from around the world, and I guess you maybe don't even need to speak their language, because they all speak MySQL or were willing to work on your platform, or?
Let's say the official language for the company was bad English.
Okay.
And we did hire lots of people from Russia, and that initially couldn't speak English, but they could write English. So the one requirement first from the beginning, you have to write and read understandable English. And we then started to meet more often, and then we even paid for having them train English, so they could actually at least get understood by others. But that was not the hard requirement. We just wanted to have the best brains.
All right, that's apparently that works. Best brains. You know English, very little English, as long as you
As long as you can get by. As long as you can basic sentences.
as long as you can be talented.
Yes.
Yeah. And communicate.
And communicate one way or another. So here one of the brightest I had an opportunity to speak with. He was in charge of Percona conference. I don't know if, unless you did it together, Percona conference?
No, the Percona is run by the Percona company, so it's more a company conference nowadays than a community event.
And I was surprised that here you are still collaborating together, which is nice. You are, I guess, mentor of Peter Zaitsev and his previous employer.
Originally, yes, but now he's standing on his own feet.
Well, I think do you think it's good that somebody of your people who work with you learn enough to create their own company? How do you feel about that?
As long as we are doing something together and it's open source and the big public benefits of it, then it's a good thing. As long as we don't quarrel.
All right. So why you do always open source? For better community?
Yeah. So originally it was a better business idea. If you want to compete with the strongest and most economically successful companies in the world, you need to do something differently. And open source gave us a much better spread. The thing was, when we started, nobody did know how can you make money on open source. We did succeed to find a way to do that. And I love the fact with open source that when you do it right, you get a product millions can use, you actually make the world better, and then you have a small fraction who pays for the benefit of others. So I like the fact that you can do business, very successful business, earn reasonable amount of money, and you are helping millions and hundreds of millions of people.
It's not so many millions in Finland.
No, we have 5 million people.
Oh, well, you can't really have 100 million users with only 5 million people.
No, but that's also why we're doing it open source. We got spread all over the world instantly.
Wow.
I mean, everybody who has using Google or Facebook have used MySQL.
Must be using a lot of MySQL then.
Yeah, you're using partially. So this is my intern. He's only 16 years old, and he is more into show business. But I think after so many interviews of great and famous computer scientists and entrepreneurs, who knows, maybe he will have some creation. So you never know.
You never know.
So did you had an opportunity to work with Fortran and Pascal, or it's like?
I started with BASIC and then I quickly learned assembler just to be able to do more with the machine. I mean, my first machine had 8K of memory. And
8 gigs.
8K.
8K.
Ah.
And I did survive. I survived with it for 2 weeks when I decided I need an upgrade, and upgraded to 16K. And then I used 16K for 4 or 5 years until I got 32K. And with 32K I survived 10 years.
All right. So we will have commercial break in few seconds here, and we will get back to Monty. By the way, if you want to call us, 408-912-5265, 408-912-5265. If you don't have connection to u923fm.com, well, apparently we have so many hits right now again that Wi-Fi doesn't work in all of our 5 or 7 routers we have here, and they all taken. So whoever got first, otherwise stay with us and check our video, which we're gonna post on olgashow.org, and also will be available on YouTube. Of course, Monty will have the opportunity to have the links and give it to all of his 100 millions of users. Our interview today in American media by Russian-speaking Olga. Olga Show, from you to you.